love it.
Nice.
So I'm shooting a documentary about the event.
Okay, sweet.
And this lifestyle and everything. Yeah. Would you like to talk for a minute?
Sure, I'd be happy to.
How'd we end up here?
What a beautiful open-ended question.
I've wanted to do it since I was like, 12 years old.
What are we doing here?
Yeah, well, getting on the road was something I always wanted to do.
I've been living on the road now for about 16 months, left last June.
I started the van life about a year ago.
So the lifestyle, I just love the ability to just go wherever I want to.
It feels like you can breathe, It's also a lot cheaper most of the time.
America kind of sells you that dream, right? You work your whole life and you retire and you have your pension, you have your Social Security, and you can enjoy your life. You've earned it. But you shouldn't have to earn having a good time. Like, we were born to just frolic in the flowers and do stuff. We decided to domesticate ourselves because it was supposed to be easier than being nomads, and we trapped ourselves in it.
Yeah, I think this lifestyle is something different for everyone. And over the last 4 years, we have found ourselves living so many different lives.
Some just to take some time off of normal society.
I could see that. I definitely feel like me wanting to get on the road since 2019 was my way of escaping life and escaping my demons.
One spot, I grew up in a town that everybody grew up there, they stayed there, they lived there, they repeated the cycle. And so I was I'm definitely don't want to just stick in Michigan and stay in Michigan.
I chose the van life because it's freedom.
It's really great for my mental health.
Van life was looking cute on the socials, and we were just really ready for a change.
A lot of people take to the road because they don't find their way on land. That's what they used to say about the sea. People who take to the sea couldn't make their way on land. People who can't make their way or don't fit into the normal system, they take to the road.
I guess it's the freedom to roll anywhere. Less routes, less ties, less stress, sort of thing. Less payments, less bills, less taxes.
For us, it's been a constant process of figuring out what matters to us and chasing that.
I spent the last 10 years working a corporate job that just was not great for me. And so I've got a part-time digital job now, and I do this full-time.
I always kind of dreamed about being on the road since I did a first road trip kind of down Highway 1 a little bit, saw some dude living out of a school bus. And then it became kind of a dream.
Basically, I got into this mode of travel. I was always doing road trips and other kind of things like that. And I lived all over the country, so I was somewhat nomadic. But in this last few years, I thought that, I could get a lot more travel in a lot more comfortable way with having a van and having it outfitted for this type of living, whether part-time or full-time. And so to me, it just seemed like the best, quickest option to be able to see a lot more of the U.S. quicker than I would have otherwise.
I do. I think we were all brought to van life or drawn to van life for a reason. So I think everyone in this community has a really interesting story to begin with.
Seeing everything. Choosing to be able to go see what it is I want to see. If I want to hang out on a beach for a day and wherever I can, go to San Diego, go to Big Sur, go to the Oregon coast. Just being able to up and leave and go do whatever it is that I want to do when I want to do it.
I'd have to spend 2 weeks out of the month working just to pay rent, to live in some box, and I did not fucking want to do that.
But there's also the experience aspect of it. We both love to travel, and
Yeah, for $25,000 we can have our tiny little apartment that also goes to everywhere that we want it to be. You know, we can be out in the most beautiful places in the world, and it's home there. You can stay for 2 weeks for free, and it's a pretty magical thing.
My name is Geneva.
I'm Mike.
We drove the Pan American Highway. We left from Arizona in 2014, and it took us about 9 years from start to finish, with interruptions along the way, which is not to say we were out of the US the whole time, but the entire journey took us from Alaska to Ushuaia, 9 years in a truck camper.
And we just arrived back from Chile in January.
Well, there's a lot to like. I mean, the people are great, just being outside all the time in amazing places. You can see the view that we have from the van right here.
As I've always known about it since I was a kid. I had an uncle who was a gypsy, as they would say, and he had a Winnebago in like the 70s and 80s, and he would travel across the country, like just visiting family member to family member. And my dad would always tell me, like, you have such a gypsy spirit, like your Uncle Lorenzo. And I just remember thinking that was so cool to like have your home with you and you could like travel to see all your friends all the time.
My first real introduction to road life was through music. I played in bands in high school, and our band would always play with these touring bands coming through, and it seemed like the coolest, most interesting thing. And then right after I turned 18 and graduated high school, we hit the road, and yeah, it really was extraordinary, just the way that people put us up and helped us, and the way we didn't really know how we were going to get from A to B, but we'd figure it out as we went. And ever since then, I always dreamed of living on the road and traveling.
Everyone just thinks you like live out on the road, go on the road, you get a van, you just go on the road. But I just got a van, and all I did was change my living situation because rent was too expensive. I just had this van, and I'm still working my same job, getting the same paycheck, where before, when I was paying rent, I was living paycheck to paycheck. But now, I was living in my van, I got rid of rent, and I was like, I'm rich! And it was cool because then I was able to take that. My bosses showed me how like one of their hustles too is they take their money and they like go to like thrift shops, or like they buy things for cheap and then resell them for like more. So then I started having extra money that I could like buy things and then do that with. While I lived in the house, that was like something I could do. Once you live in a van, you don't have room for nothing else.
But then also because I grew up in New Orleans, Louisiana, and we had a lot of hurricanes, as you know, in the South. And at least once a year, we were evacuating, like at least every single year of my life. And we would caravan, the entire family. We would pack up your car, and like each household would be in one car, and we would meet at my grandmother's house, and then we would caravan to the next state until the storm passed. And it was always just like the best times of my life. So I just have always been like attuned to this world, I think. And when I moved from New Orleans to California, I remember like packing up literally everything that I had and moving. And I said out loud, it would just be so cool if I just had like my house attached to my car. And that way, wherever I went, I could just do that. And my friend was like, oh, like you want to be like in the tiny house community or like the like van life community. Why don't you just do that? And so that began my real journey of like, you know what, this has been showing up for me my entire life. I actually do want to do this. And I wanted to do it before I got married and had children. And so before I met him, I was already like, I had been planning for a couple of years. I had like designs of like my build out that I was going to do. And then we happened to meet, and I told him, I was like, hey, I've been prepping to do van life. I don't know, and I'm doing it for at least a year. I don't know if this is going to be something that you're going to want to do. And he was like,
It was more of a maybe not. At first I was like, that sounds like a good idea for you.
Yeah, behind us is our little short bus that we've lived in for almost 4 years now on the road full time.
I bought this trailer kind of right before COVID happened with the intention of making it a mobile glass blowing studio for visiting festivals and whatnot. And then when everything happened the way it did, I kind of just ended up moving into it full time and just doing the art thing full time, traveling around and making it work. That's what got me out on it.
I had always been in love with the aesthetics of the sort of classic Vanagon. And I was still working in tech in San Francisco at the time. Went to Hawaii for what was supposed to be a couple of weeks, and I'd seen online that you could rent a Volkswagen Vanagon. Someone was like listing them on Airbnb. And so it was supposed to be a 2-week trip, turned into a month and change. Fell in with some locals, had a really wonderful time. It was just beautiful. And so since that moment, I was pretty hooked on the idea of it. And then as my work began to shift away from traditional work, I just started to travel more and more. And I would call that my inciting incident.
I'm like, no. And she said, try it for a month. And I was like, something about this, try it for a month. I'm like, cool, I can do anything for a month, it's fine. And during that time, we went to a van life gathering. I'll never forget my first van life gathering. And it was actually an impromptu birthday party in the middle of a desert in somewhere Moab. Around Moab, and the people, the community, I mean, I thought we were going camping, you know? I thought we were going camping, and suddenly, you know, it's 150 vans, you know, pulling together this, like, festival overnight, and it's fire dances, DJ sets, like lasers, smoke show, and then there's a karaoke, and Nikki gets to sing, I get to rap, and we do music together. People are loving it. 150 people are, like, raving and dancing with us, and it was just such a magical experience. I was like, wow, we couldn't do this all the time.
I like living in a van. One of the coolest parts too is just like when you live in a house, you know, it's like so expensive to move. And that's one of the most special things is like everything I own. If I need to go to like Colorado tomorrow for something, it's like drive the house.
I've always been nomadic by blood. I'm Hungarian, and my other sides are Cuban and Sicilian. So I've moved around a lot growing up, and as I moved through my adulthood, I tended to only stay in places for maybe a couple years and then move on.
In 2021, while I was still stationed at home, dreaming of this life, my whole world fell apart. Everything, like right after another. It was just the worst year I've ever had. I was able to finally work through it to the point that I'm okay now on the road. But originally, it was definitely like, I need to get out of here. I need to go. I need to experience, just because I was so unhappy in myself. I was looking for the thing that was going to make me happy. And I was looking for what I could do with my life.
It used to just be this like hello, goodbye, never see people again. And now I've known people for like 2-3 years. We have decentralized community now. It's like the kind of community I always wanted and was always looking for.
When 2020 hit, I had been living in Los Angeles for like 7 years at that point. That's where I was born and partially raised. When everything got chaotic, I mean, I was wrapped up in the architecture world and working at a computer and also building and whatnot too. I worked at a wood shop during that time as well, and for different designers, and I was also practicing body work and whatnot. So when the pandemic hit, everything shut down, and the partner I was with at the time, he had been traveling and hitchhiking on the road for like 10 years. And he was like, well, you wanted to get out of here. It's time.
So we actually we have the best of both worlds. We're very lucky. We used to, for about 3 years, we called ourselves half-timers because that's how much time we spent on the road. So we have a home. We've actually created a van life destination in Iowa where we live, where other people who are travelers, other nomads can come and we get to still travel when we want. And I still travel and play music. Sometimes I'm on my own. Sometimes we go together.
When you boil it down for us, this lifestyle is about paring our lives down to what feels like a necessity for us, which might not feel like a necessity for you. It's different for everyone.
Yeah, it's allowed me to have a kind of freedom that I think most people don't get to have. So it's, yeah, try not to take it for granted. It's been great.
I chose this life because it's freedom, it's choice, it's deconstructing the normatives of what our society says is normal, a way to live.
You get to live wherever you want and also not have to pay rent. Like,
for some people, you do this is your last resort of living. You know, you do get kicked out of housing, you get kicked out of a community or a family, and you find yourself on the road And so you're kind of doing this as almost an element of desperation.
People are always like, how can you afford this lifestyle? When in reality, a lot of us are spending less than people that are paying like $1,200 a month.
It definitely like changed our lives. It like, it opened up the world in a way. It opened it. We've met so many incredible people. We've seen so many incredible things. It just like created this adventure. And like I said, I feel really fortunate that we get the best of both worlds. We're not just locked into our vehicle where you kind of do end up feeling like you don't belong anywhere. We get the best of both worlds where we belong somewhere and we belong everywhere.
And so for us, this lifestyle has been about taking back agency over our time, our energy, our resources, and figuring out like, how do we live life simply and sweetly?
Right on.
As a person who has had issues in the past on like relying on other people for a lot of stuff, it's been really nice to just do this on my own with my dog.
I've realized that I'm, like you were saying, we're lucky. Well, I'm lucky because I get to enjoy van life because I also know that I have a home, whereas I get to never feel stuck at home because I know that should I wish to go on a great adventure, I absolutely could.
We've been conditioned so much to be fast-paced and to move at a speed and energy exertion that is beyond our capacity.
We just have too much stuff. You get the big house and you have to fill it with more things. And you have to pay for more. It's just an outpour of money all the time. And sure, I'm spending a lot of money on the road, but I'm doing a lot more than I ever could if I was stationed somewhere.
There's a lot about normal life that doesn't feel like it's working for a lot of people anymore. It's really, really difficult to work a 9 to 5, have the amount of money that you need, feel like you have the freedom to take vacations and create memories with people. Like, I think there's a lot about that system that feels like it's crumbling to me. Go and get a job and, work for the pension and then you'll be taken care of. And I could feel that eroding out from under me, like right as I graduated from college, which was a wild time for that to happen. And so really early after that, it became clear to me like, oh, that's not what I'm supposed to be doing.
I mean, you're just trapped. So much of life it just seems like a trap to me. And having a house is one of the biggest because you have to pay this mortgage and the property taxes and everything else that comes with it. It's all your responsibility. Something goes wrong, you're screwed. So, and coming from New York, it would be damn near impossible for me to be able to even afford anything, let alone an apartment by myself. So I would always have to rely on somebody else, and I don't want to have to rely on someone else in order to live. And that was kind of a big reason for getting out on the road.
What don't I like about this community? So everybody's open-minded. Everybody comes from different backgrounds, religions, creed, sexuality, everything, religion.
You say hello to people because you know that they want to be here too. And they might be solo or they might have a group of friends, and that's just a very safe space, I guess. And it's funny how this safe space didn't exist 5 days ago, but then 300 vans drove over here and now it exists for 5 days. And then everyone will go their different ways and cross paths again. And we get to share our passions and our expertise. Like today, I sat and enjoyed Darren, who makes coffee. That's how I remembered his name at first. He found out about our alpacas. And so then he pulled out fiber that he travels with from a sheep named Elsa that he's doing felting work with. And now I'm going to work on getting him some of our alpaca fiber to purchase so that he can create more things with what we do. And had we not been here, that connection would not have ever been made. It's really special.
I guess it's the feeling of community. I've been living in Costa Rica amongst expats for 25 years, and I love the the differences in people's backgrounds. You know, you got everything from a bike mechanic to a engineer to a doctor to name it, and someone's driving a van from that profession. Crazy creative people who never fit into wherever they were, so they decided to mobilize. So it's just a good, fun group of creatives and loonies, I guess.
Yeah, and I think we'd be remiss to not acknowledge, like, for some folks, this isn't a choice, right? For some folks, this lifestyle isn't escaping the mainstream. It's not, it's not an active decision.
Just after my 30th birthday, I had a little quarter-life crisis and realized now or never. Just packed up all my stuff and took off in my truck. Didn't really have a plan, and one thing led to another, and here I am 3 years later, living in a school bus full-time.
It's kind of a hard one to answer, but I think the easiest layup answer to that, shit in dog bags. Like being somewhere and being like, I really gotta poop. Oh God, I gotta poop.
When you're a person who's pooped in a bucket and you meet another person that's pooped in a bucket, you're like, we're both just people that pooped in buckets. I don't know how we got here. It doesn't matter.
At this point, it's kind of a tough question to answer, just because the whole lifestyle is so intentional.
A friend of mine once said that van life is like life on hard mode, and I wouldn't disagree. You've kind of got to reset your expectations around things we take for granted, like, oh, I'm almost certainly not going to be getting a shower every day. And like, where am I going to park tonight? Now, there's a lot of wonderful solutions to those problems and things that are straightforward to overcome.
There are a lot of challenges. Some challenges that I did not expect or didn't pay mind to was how much maintenance I've had to do on the rig. Everything may look and feel right when it's parked in your driveway and you're just finished building it, and you give it a couple of taps and you're like, oh, that's not going to go anywhere. But 50 miles down the bumpy road, you have cabinetry falling apart. You have your drawers in your kitchen coming off the hinges.
Well, the first van was a $1,500 mystery machine. You never knew when it was going to break down.
Yeah, it pushes you into growth. Like, you have to be self-reliant in this lifestyle.
Yeah, there's a lot of like work that goes into maintaining everything behind the scenes.
I mean, it teaches you so much. I mean, I live in my car and I meet these people who live in their school buses, and just even knowing them and hearing their stories and what it is that they're working through. If I do decide to upgrade, I know how to handle it, or I know who to call to help me handle it.
I tried to quit probably every day, but I can fix anything in that bus pretty much now. I know how it all works, and I'm really proud of it.
The level of resilience that, that happens when you are like so close to the survival of like, we're out exposing ourselves in nature, we're actually taking risks, but you become better, you just become better in the process. And it's not about wishing for no problems, but just wishing for the strength to handle them all. And so I think that's been a big lesson in that, in terms of some of the breakdowns that ended up sort of beautiful.
Yeah, you gotta do everything. You gotta find out where you're sleeping each night. You gotta break down, set up camp all the time, and cook all your meals, find out where you're getting it. Like, I don't plan very well, but you gotta a little bit. Like, I mean, I always say, like, I can only plan 2 weeks at a time in this lifestyle. And
like we're here, there's no water source, so you have to make sure that you have all the resources that you need to get by for the time that you're there at a location, and be able to be comfortable enough so that you're not desperate for something, whether it be warmth or food or...
Yeah, because it can happen quick.
It can happen quick. Things can happen, so you got to be prepared. So there's a lot of things to think about.
Well, I mean, for us, we've been doing this for like 4 years. So kind of what we're signed up for. We know what we're doing. And so the hard parts aren't so hard anymore, right? It's just kind of like the standard now.
So it's continuous maintenance and cleaning. Those are my two biggest challenges. Keeping a van clean, and keeping up with the maintenance, tightening every little single screw, finding better items to attach stuff with, and or vehicle maintenance. Obviously, you got to repair your rig.
It's not easy. It's hard. It's not glamorous all the time.
We're all trying to find water, figure out where to dump our trash, figure out how to take care of our waste. And there's like something really human about getting kind of stripped down to that like raw place of figuring out how to make it work that I think allows us all to relate to each other, regardless of whether you're in a multiple six-figure rig or this wasn't a choice that you made.
You know, let me cut to the chase. If you're super wealthy and you're in van life because you can afford a nice van and all the maintenance and pay big dollars for RV resorts and travel, it's not a difficult lifestyle. You know, it's pretty easy, in fact, and get a great way to see the country and national parks and take grandkids or take family members and have good memories and trips. Then it's a lot of fun.
So the first 6 months were really challenging because Rohita, so we're working with Storyteller for this van, so they're sponsoring us right now, which has been fun. And our like rig, Rohita is her name. She's a 1994 E150, and the intention was like, it was just for me and the dog. He would come out on the weekends and like not really a full-time gig because he was like, I'm not doing this full-time. So got it enough for something that I could drive around and feel comfortable bopping around on my own, but then enough space for us to be together when he did join. And like there were like, I mean, massive levels of breakdown. It sat for a year with us getting things fixed on it. Like every time we would do a little trip, like something would break down. And it was a year of that. And then once we finally moved out of our place, which was September of 2023, it broke down like almost like immediately. And like it was like in the shop for like almost a month getting fixed, and I was staying with a friend and he stayed with another friend, and so it was like on and off like that for almost 6 months. And then April of 2024 was really when it started to like balance out.
One of the things that I found interesting is you have to be self-reliant. You have to, again, nuts and bolts. You have to find your way on the road in a way that kind of is sort of just given to you living in regular society. And so because of that, you get to have really deep and emotional conversations. You get to experience and love and feel in a way that at least in my experience, I have not been able to feel in other seasons of my life.
I think finding a spot to park has to be the most challenging thing, because again, you got to think about how beautiful you want it to be, how enchanting you want to wake up to, of a place you want to wake up to.
I know for some people, it can be being lonely. We don't really have that. It's kind of a built-in thing.
Especially with climbing.
And with climbing, right? Exactly. Like we can ruck up to any crag and be like, hey man, can I get a catch? And someone's going to be down. Some people it's the waking up in a different spot, or like the parking lot nights, right? Like that's, we always hear about that, and like every night's not an Instagram night, and we're gonna stay in parking lots. Yeah. Staff and I sleep the most comfortable in Cracker Barrels and Bass Pro Cabela's. Like, yeah. Pro tip: Cabela's and Cracker Barrel.
Yeah, you don't need to do Walmart.
Walmarts are fine, but Cracker Barrels have like the same demographic, just older, and so it's just a little safer. And then at Cabela's and Bass Pro, like everyone in the parking lot's got a gun, so you know it's the safest parking lot in town.
It is extremely frustrating having such a small space, mostly for cooking, but cooking is the bane of my existence regardless. But I figured it was probably better for me to get a small space and see how I liked the road and if I wanted to continue doing this, instead of pouring all of this money into getting a big rig and just driving off into the sunset thinking everything would be fine. And then I'm like, oh, I can't handle any of this. I got too ahead of myself. So I don't mind having a small space, especially because the fact that I do. So many people are like, well, come into my place. Come take a shower in my RV. And, there's so much generosity from people who have bigger rigs because I'm in my car.
But yeah, the constant moving catches up to you after a while, for sure.
You do develop a tolerance for the unpredictable nature of this finite existence of ours, and it's a lifelong struggle, but you try to handle it with grace and empathy and not let the downs take you too down, if that makes sense. But it can be really hard sometimes.
You would think it's those little like everyday kind of challenges, but really after so long, it's just part of it. It doesn't really become a challenge anymore. It's just, well, where are we staying tonight?
The first week I was on the road, my front left tire blew out on the highway, started shaking and everything, and it was weird. It wasn't a stressful scenario. I wasn't freaking out. I was like, you know what? If I have to, I can live on the side of the road. But yeah, you learn to just let everything kind of go off you like an uncarved block. You're just kind of like flowing with whatever's happening, and it's the beauty of it.
The highlights and the lowlights are kind of merging at some point, because at first, like the first breakdowns and maintenance issues that were like kind of unexpected were really shocks to my nervous system, and both of us really like threw us for a loop. But eventually it wasn't about like avoiding the breakdowns, it's just about, oh, we're starting to get really good at this. Like we know how to, navigate when stuff happens without totally freaking out. And it's not about like avoiding problems, but just becoming resilient. And I think that's one of the biggest lessons I've learned from this journey so far.
Super hard memories. I mean, loneliness will catch up to you, for sure. I feel like I get more depressed in this lifestyle the longer I'm in like a city or like urban area that's just like, you feel more like you're just living on the street in your rig.
And yeah, it can be lonely, especially when you first start out and you don't know how to yet make friends on the road, or why gatherings like the one we just had are so important for people to build new friendships. And it's fun for me to watch new friends caravan up and hear them all talk over there about, where do we want to go next? Like, should we go to Silver City? I know some hot springs over here. And, oh, cool, I know this really awesome spot over here. We can all get showers and camp for the night, and it might be warm enough to go swimming. It's fun to hear friends that maybe haven't seen each other in a year, or brand new friends, kind of come together in that way. And it take a little bit of time, especially those first year or two, to learn that, how to do that and how to build community in that way. But it is one of the biggest reasons why I think there's a value in having get-togethers like the ones we just had here.
I think comfortability is actually extremely hard. I think that's a huge problem that I was having with my other life. Is I would wake up, do the same thing, routine, and then you start getting comfortable and you're not challenging yourself. You're not like doing these different fun things that make you feel uncomfortable and make you kind of grow as a person. That's the hardest part I feel about the other life, is I was never really growing. I was kind of stagnant and just stayed at this one place, maybe jumped up a little bit, back down, wherever, but it wasn't like on the road the past, even just 4 months, like gradually I can just tell I've grown as a person. So that's probably the biggest thing.
And, like, we're dirtbags, so a shower, if you have a shower for us, we'll come use it. But, we don't always worry so much about a shower either, which is, I think some folks are like, I have to shower daily type of people. In this lifestyle, you kind of just have to put that to rest.
Just like, yeah, let it go by the wayside.
Yeah, you're like, well, I might stink a little bit, but it's just me and you, so.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've had a lot of amazing times, like meeting incredible people, coming to events like this, being able to do what we love, which is like performing on the road, operate our businesses on the road, travel, see different places. There's so many elements of it that we really, really love. And then there's the challenges, like the breakdowns. And there's also moments where like I like want my creature comforts of like, oh my God, I'm sick of moving and I just want to be in a house right now with like a tub and like the refrigerator and something that's not moving. I don't have to worry about the elements. It's all of that, but that's also a part of it. The ability to be able to like do something different. It's like we get to meet ourselves at an edge like every single day and rediscover like what we're made of, because of the way that this lifestyle is designed to curate your life experience, I guess.
Every time I really think it's getting hard, I like look back to, it's like I could always jump back out into where I was before I got in this lifestyle. I mean, my background, I was like working in outdoor education and was kind of doing like summer camps and ski instructing. and living in employee housing and stuff. And I could always jump back into that, but it's also like, I don't want to go backwards.
I mean, I do think that old joke where if you want to make God laugh, make a plan. I do think that applies to whether you're a carpet walker or you're somebody in a van. But you do, like right now I know I've got to finish packing up and get in that van, and I'm going to start her up after 5 days, and let's see what happens.
So what's it like working on the road?
Beautiful.
I have so many things to say about that.
Pretty successful, I guess. My first job was doing animations for MTV. Then I realized that my life was just locked up in a box, just sitting in front of a computer the whole time. So I've been focusing more and more on live things that happen right now.
Today we're vending. Ayana's selling jewelry and I'm selling my cookbook.
You know, to some degree, all of us who are on the road are like, we're nomadic for a reason. We're magicians, we're creative beings, artists in all sense of the words, no matter how we choose to make money. That's just the truth about it. And it gives you the ability to use all of your gifts and talents to take care of yourself. You're not boxed into one role or one thing. And
so, yeah, the freedom of that, you know, I wouldn't be able to be a full-time artist if I wasn't in this lifestyle, you know, because I don't pay rent, I don't pay studio rent, I'm just gas and groceries, keeps you going.
At least for us, what it's shown up, it's like, it's not just one thing. Like, yeah, there are brand partnerships, but that's not the full makeup of the scope of like how we take care of ourselves. We both have our own businesses with like our own clients or our own bookings. Like, I'm an actress, so I still have auditions in LA. I'm a singer-songwriter, so I can go and perform at a show, or I can sell my song for something, or we also host our own events as well. We have online courses and digital products and physical products. So it depends on, like, for me, like, at least for me, I consider myself a multi-hyphenate, and I choose to express myself in ways that it's wanting to come through in that moment. And it's about me choosing it. And I think being nomadic gives me the ability to be able to do that. That also can be difficult because you don't always know exactly where the money is coming from, because I'm going out there and I'm creating it, you know, every single day. Like, every event, every conversation is an opportunity that may lead to your next job. So it's like there's a heightened sense of awareness around like what I get to choose and what I get to say no to as well, because you can have, like, your life can also become this one long running job if you allow it, like just running on from one thing to the next to the next. So really, like, creating boundaries of like, okay, this is like my work day, this is like my time off, like, and really like creating those boundaries for myself. So I think for me, at least, it's a little bit of like all of the things that I like to do.
I'm a photographer too, so we just shoot while we're on the road and go to beautiful places and meet cool people, meet cool dogs. It's just a really great lifestyle. I really love it.
Every day we wake up, we go to work, just to come back home, sleep, and then have to do it all over again. Out here, not only can you work if you're able to, but you also have all this space around you.
Especially like being based in Texas, man, it's an amazing place to live. I love being from Texas and living in Texas. It just wasn't conducive for us with climbing and trying to run a business in the climbing world to be based in Central Texas. It's, 10 hours to get out of it in any direction except to go to Mexico. It became this thing of, well, if we're going to be climbing and in the places that we want to be where the rest of the climbing is, we have to be mobile. We have to be able to get out and be able to stay out.
So I make jewelry, which you can see here, necklaces and bolo ties and silversmith some as well, all with plants that we found along the way, which has been great. And that's one of my sources of income. I also picked up a part-time job with a nonprofit that works with families who have ALS diagnoses. So I do a lot of care coordination for them and trying to support them with medical equipment and communication support and all of those kinds of things. So that's also been interesting, like getting back into working life and van life and kind of doing that as well. But like I said, you can live a million different lives in a rig. You can have a job, you can not have a job, you can be an artist, you can be a part-time artist, you can be retired if you want, for a while at least.
And yeah, like I try not to worry about the money too much, but that's also like in this lifestyle, I never know when I'm getting the next money. Like I try to plan a festival trip where I will be able to set up and sell, but a lot of the time I've been traveling, it's just been kind of read and run and just like decide where I'm going and then look what's happening there that weekend. If there's anywhere I'll be able to sell, like farmers markets, craft shows type of thing.
So I have a pretty extensive background. For 10 years, I spent working as a forestry tech in Washington State, working for the Department of Ecology. And that was an amazing job. I got to explore the state, even the country on emergency response. And now I find myself in a data analyst position for a renewable resource energy company that allows me to work remotely. So it's behind the laptop, behind the keyboard, but it gives me this freedom.
Yeah, I don't like the routine. I had a corporate job working for a bunch of different skincare brands and just going in, day out, not really having fun. But now I can do the same exact thing and look at a mountain or look at the great sand dunes or a canyon, whatever. So just to be able, the opportunity to be free and really just live life as it's meant to be lived.
I do freelance writing and recipe development for a media company. I do some content creation for Openel, the knife company. And then I also write cookbooks. So my first cookbook came out a couple of years ago, and that one's sold really well, especially in the Nomad community. And my second one is on the way right now.
I think for us as both performers and for me to, be engaged with this beautiful woman, it's just been amazing to see her and her gift. Like, we're coming out here on tour, performing, and she sings, and it's like just seeing people like respond to that every time. It's just so beautiful. Like, it's kind of a dream. We're on tour, traveling the world to these beautiful places, doing what we love to do, and really received by amazing humans. And so that doesn't really get old at all. It takes a lot of effort every time setting up for the next event, but once we're there, it's so worth it. And I always look forward to the next one.
Even if you're somebody who's on the road and was pushed there for economic reasons, not necessarily homeless per se, but there's a lot of folks who love to do the seasonal work thing. They'll take the summer jobs rafting on the Middle Fork of the Salmon, or they'll take winter jobs working at a ski resort, things like that, versus some folks who they decided that was going to be their retirement. So they retired, bought themselves a beautiful Storyteller Overland or Overland Van Project Sprinter van, or a four-wheel campers, something like that, and decided to hit the road and do it that way. The rewards are that you get to see so much more of this planet than many others do.
I honestly, it's hard, but I feel like every relationship's hard in their own ways. So putting the tension of being on the road hasn't really been all that much more for us, maybe because of the lifestyle we were living beforehand. But it seems fairly normal for us. I mean, of course, every couple's gonna have their little tiffs, and I call them bickerments. You're in a small space. You're gonna have to forgive that person, or something's gonna have to go on to fix whatever situation it was.
I mean, we've just, in between the challenges, it's felt like a relationship marriage boot camp that we have to maneuver through, because there's no space. You can't go off into the world and be upset. We literally go grocery shopping together, at the gym together, because our whole world is in the van. So that can be challenging, but it's also been really beautiful at the same time to have that level of deep connection with your partner, to really get to know each other. I don't think that there's anything we couldn't handle after going through van life together.
Obviously, we have our moments, but at the end of the day, it's a super intentional lifestyle. We're getting to do what we want to do every day, And we have these sayings, right? And when we're hiking, right? It's, don't forget to look up. And we try to use that for like everything in life, right? Like, don't forget to look up, man. You get so busy like in the grind and like trudging your feet along. And like, we've all hiked on trails. You know, if you don't look where you're going, you're gonna trip. You can't have your heads in the cloud on a trail all day. Well, most of the best views that you're gonna see are on trail, not at the destination, not at the crag. A lot of times you get to the crag and it's cased in by trees. You're not gonna actually be able to see until you get up. And then even sometimes you go up and you still can't see very well. But when you hike out, you're gonna have a view like this, and you just can't forget to look up.
Henry, was it?
Yes.
So I would say, one, for me, the dogs are just an important companion in my life. And so if I'm going to go out and explore things, I'd like to take them with me. But I think one of the most natural or repeat connections for why van lifers, campers love to take their dog with them is because when you're out in spaces where you would like to go camping, it's also an amazing natural playground for your dog to really experience the things. Yeah, the things that they actually care about. So Potter and Pepper are bird dogs. They love going with us. Right now, he wants out of the van to just go chase and see and look. And that is something that he got plenty of when we lived in town. But this is even more magical, more incredible for us and for them. So I think there's just something really special about being able to have that companion animal that you can see also enjoying your adventure.
I'll also add that in a setting like this, in these like community events, I feel like dogs are like just this natural icebreaker because the dogs walk up and interact with each other right away.
Yeah.
And then the people walk up and start talking about your dogs.
Yeah.
And it's like a nice icebreaker that makes it really fun to get to know people.
I'm Anna. This is Harper.
Hey, Harper.
And we've been on the road for just a few months now officially. I got my van in March of this year and just added some stuff to it before we hit the road.
We get put on this pedestal, right? Like, people will literally walk around and be like, are you full-time? Are you part-time? Like, that's a thing. It's very easy to put it on this pedestal and find it to be like unattainable or like out there and like, oh, these people must have money, these people must be doing this. Like, we don't have tech jobs, we don't have a big savings. This is just what we want to be doing. And so, yeah, if you want to be doing it, get out there and go do it, because it's just that easy to do so.
And you don't need to be in a massive rig.
Yeah, it's not some unattainable goal.
Just,
you know,
what you have will work. I mean, we lived out of a Jeep Cherokee, 96 Jeep Cherokee for 5-6 months.
Well, we built out something else.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's,
well, we built out
whatever you have is the right thing to do it in. You just have to be able to, you just have to go do it.
Yeah. And then just be willing to make some sacrifices. Like, you got to figure out, like, where's your pain and where's your pleasure in it, and where do you draw your lines. I mean, some people find that they actually draw their lines fairly low because of the cool stuff they want to do.
Yeah, that's, we've been on the road for just about 4 years now. It'll be 4 years next week, and it's definitely something that comes up in our minds, like, how long are we going to do this? All of the struggles of living in a rig start to add up over time. You're like, do I really want to have to worry about where I'm dumping my pee for another 10 years? And we had a chance to house sit some this summer and enjoy house life, which is a relief in a lot of ways, but also, get itchy feet really fast. And the idea of settling down again and getting an apartment, I know that pretty quickly that would come back, that desire to be on the road and, out having new experiences again.
Yeah, thank you for asking. I literally, like a day ago, I was like, I think I'm done full time. And then every so often it does happen because I realized that, wow, the original intention was a year. That's done. So now the reevaluation is happening and I do love it. I don't want to give it up. I do know I will always have a van. Like, I will always have a van. I don't know that we'll go full time forever. Probably not, for sure. I know, at least for now, I like half and half would feel good for me, because we do have plans. Like, we do want to own land and property. We do also want to live in other parts of the world. So this is like one component of something that we want to do that we will continue on with. But I think full-time forever is probably not probably not on the agenda.
I think a lot of us get to the point where it's like, we don't necessarily want to do this full-time forever, but we definitely want to have the option. I mean, I'm sure a bunch of people you talk to would talk about finding a homestead, or like getting some friends together for a plot of land where we just have the spot. Like, that's the dream with this. I never want to sell this trailer, but I am starting to get into like, all right, I would really like to have a spot where I could leave it, you know?
The world has gotten so much more expensive over the last 4 years. Like, we've been priced out of a lot of places in the last 4 years. And at this point, some of it is still a question of like, do we want to keep doing this? Do we not? But it's also like, could we afford to not keep doing this? And I think that's an interesting position that we found ourselves in that we wouldn't have anticipated at the beginning of like, do we have the choice to not?
Yeah, I agree. I think it comes in seasons, you know. I think Nikki had this like build up appetite to go travel, be on the road and do all of this for years. And so now a good year in, like a lot of that thirst is like quenched a little bit, you know. And it's still part of our lives. I think, you know, the freedom, the community, that's something we'll always have. And just gathering people, that's something that's so much part of our DNA. It's just a forever thing. However, like, I think that a lot of that freedom and those culture components we can bring into what's next. Like, if I think about the land ownership that we'll do, we'll be hosting van life gatherings, you know, we'll be hosting retreats. And so I think there's a lot of that being in nature that we'll always maintain as part of our lifestyle. And, you know, traveling is always available. And yeah, having a van to do a weekend trip or a holiday trip with the family or something, that's always going to be cool for sure. I think that's a forever thing for sure. And then, yeah, there'll be time when we be carpet walkers.
And I think beyond that, like, when you're thinking about getting into a rig, you think about all the sacrifices that you're going to have to make, all the stuff you have to get rid of, all, you know, the community at home that you're going to leave behind, that sense of comfort and security. But now, you know, we have to consider those same sacrifices from this lifestyle if we're going to revert to something a little bit more traditional. It's not... I mean, money is definitely a large factor, but we could certainly make that work if we wanted to. It would just mean sacrificing a lot of the things that we really treasure right now.
Totally.
I think that if you want to live this lifestyle, you have to be ready to experience emotions that you might not even think that you will experience, because they will come out, and there's not a lot of room for avoiding them and ignoring them and letting them just sit under the couch. The beauty of it is, if you can work through those emotions and you can feel it and you can ride the wave of the highs and the lows, you will find such a complete sense of healing that you wouldn't even imagine is possible in a way that is so core to your being, that I think is appealing to some.
This walk of life just brings people that are adventurous, that want to be adventurous, without putting themselves in peril, and having the comfort of, semi-comfort of home with them.
And yeah, it's just been really nice to have a friend, my dog friend, to share on the adventure. So it's been really cool.
I want to be someone who can be thrown into an unexpected situation and not panic, not freeze up, just like step up and figure out what needs to be done. And I've become more of that person traveling, and I meet people like that. And I think that in some of the worlds I lived in before, there were a lot of people who, if they were like just a little out of their comfort zone, they'd just be like, I don't know what to do. So that's something that attracts me to the people in the community, and something I've liked to see develop in myself.
I think something I always see people do when they're interested about this lifestyle is like they'll spend so much time just getting ready, like, oh, I got to make everything perfect, so once I get out there I don't got to worry about anything. And that's not the case. Like, you're always going to come up with problems, something's always going to happen. And really, like, if you want to get out on the road, just do it. Like, you don't got to wait till your rig's completely finished. Like, I honestly recommend going out and taking a trip in an unfinished rig. Then you can see what you like about it, what you don't like about it, what you want to change. And yeah, I think that's a pretty important move. So you can get comfortable in your rig. And
Go to Vermont. It's beautiful up there, my hometown. I have nothing nice or nothing bad to say about that place, and especially right now with the peak foliage. So that's all I got to say.
If you feel like doing it, just do it. Like, you can do it in a lot of cars. I've met people living out of sedans. Like, you don't have to have the perfect rig to see if you like the lifestyle. And it's cool to get out there, see some places.
Yeah, so it's like the kind of community I've always been looking for, but it's like, for it to happen, it's like we all needed to be on wheels. Like, it's decentralized community is what it is. I mean, the way the system is all set up for us all to just be separate, you know, like just partner off and like have your own land and be separate from everyone. And I just didn't want that. Like, I need something more, and I was gonna find a better way, or spend my life looking, or die trying, like, because I would just be too depressed, really.
It keeps you young. Yeah, it kind of, it's weird because it's so tiring. It can be so tiring and so hard, but it also, like, it keeps you making decisions and solving problems and challenging yourself daily. And that it's hard to make yourself do that sometimes, but I think that's really important.
Yeah, the experiences are fucking amazing. And it is the ups and downs, the good, the bad, and the ugly. It all comes hand in hand. And somewhere it is all part of being alive.
So I just want to encourage people to be gentle with themselves during these shifts, but really truthful with themselves too. You know, don't give in to the illusions that the mind and that the outer world might bring upon you. Really listen deeply to your truth and walk your path in a way that brings you joy.
Yeah, I don't want to look back. I'm not guaranteed to make it to my retirement. If I ever will retire, I don't know. So I'm not guaranteed that, and I want to be able to see and do the things that I want to do and wake up and decide this place isn't working for me anymore, and hit the road and go to the next place and see the next beautiful thing and meet the new beautiful people and just alter my mind every day through those interactions and those experiences.
Fucking, if you're not happy doing what you're doing, do something else. I mean, there's a whole world of opportunities out there. I see so many people that just settle in and just live unhappy lives, unhappy relationships, and they just keep doing that. It's like, make things interesting for yourself.
Yeah, and there's that feeling of like, I don't want life to pass me by. Like, I don't want to wake up at 65 and feel like that's the time when I get to start living my life, if I'm blessed enough to even get there in the first place. I don't want to hold my breath for that, and I don't want to wait to adventure and explore and like go out on those limbs until I'm, you know, I don't know, like I've put my time in or I've worked for it or something, but yeah.
I remember being told a lot by older people when I was a young child, like, live while you're young, you know, go and do those things. And that really stuck with me, and I guess it doesn't for everybody, but, you know, we're trying to do that, you know, not wait too long to go and experience everything. Do it while we're young and we still have energy and are willing to take big risks.
Yeah, and have our health, you know, for the most part. It's a huge part of it too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd rather be shitting in dog bags than not out here. Pain of not being out here would far outweigh the pain of having to find somewhere to use a restroom. Mm-hmm. You know, like, it's way more pleasurable to, like, some of my best pictures are taken pooping. Because, like, you, like, hike around, and this is, like, the perfect example of, don't forget to look up, like, you'll be, like, trudging around, like, shit, I gotta dig a cat hole. And, like, you're like, okay, where am I gonna dig this thing? And so, like, you'll be doing your thing, and you dig it, and then you get squatted, and, like, you look up, and you realize, like, it's something like this, and you're like, whoa.
I'm not even off of it yet, and I already want to get back on it.
but some